Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, cover the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People, as we're going to go into day two of your NFL draft coverage. Carolina Panthers already getting active with some trades today, moving up, so that's why we started just a few minutes early. So, just like we did yesterday, this is a interactive show. We go live for the reason of interacting with you guys. So, in just a second, I'm going to put the link into the comments. It's already in the description for you guys to call in and let's hear some rapid reaction, some instant fan reaction to what's going on. That's why we're doing these live shows. But first, let me start with this. So, very transparent, very honest reporter. And I got to let you guys know I did not do justice yesterday when talking about our first round pick, also known as T Mac. Didn't have very good information on him, didn't have very accurate information on him. And so just basically just got to say that to you guys because I appreciate you following me. I know, media's trusted source, and I didn't do a good job with that yesterday. So we're going to get into some more talks about Ted McMillan, T-Mac, I'm sorry, is what he likes to be known as today. Our first round pick from yesterday. Also going to go over some of the information about his talking with the media and that stuff. But before we get to that, we got to do this right here. We got a trade alert. This is not breaking news. This happened probably about 10 to 15 minutes ago. And so I wanted to make sure I showed you this so we can get up to date with where we are with the draft right now. So Carolina Panthers have made a trade. They traded up. They traded from 57 to 51. So they moved up 6 picks to get what they call is our guy. But overall, here's the trade that they did with the Denver Broncos. Moved up 6 picks to get 51. We're going to talk about the guy that they selected with that pick here in just a second. In the third round, we moved back a little bit. We went from 74 to 85. And then with the fourth round pick, we went back again. We went from 111, which is what we gave Denver, to 122. But then we made it up a little bit in the back end. I think this was a very even trade here. We went up from 230 round 7 to pick 208 round 6, and obviously yet again we gave the Denver Broncos the opposite of what you see there. So yeah, Carolina Panthers with a trade, which we're about to get into. What's going on, Christopher Johnson? Appreciate you tuning in. Mikey Lopez, man of the people, haven't spoken to you or seen you in a while. I'm loving this draft. We will come out on top, keep pounding. Yeah. Appreciate you tuning in, Mikey. I know life happens, man. Life happens, but I'm glad that you're still checking us out. Hey, and you know what I'm going to ask for? 20,000 subscribers. We got to get there. So if you are watching and you have not subscribed, please do so. If you have already subscribed, make sure you leave a comment. Little things like that. The interactions on the site help us to expand because it shows the video to other people, which could have them join our channel. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this first round. There I go. The second round pick that the Carolina Panthers, Dan Morgan, traded up to get. Give me just a second. Chance, you gotta put a K on that word, man. You said you like the pick. I'm thinking you're talking about a pitcher. And I wonder what pitcher did you talk about? But no, you're talking about the guy that we just selected. Let me go ahead and put this in the comments too, because we want you guys to call in. So we're going to put that on the screen now for you all to call in and let me know your thoughts on the pick. That's why we're live. So just put that out there for you guys and girls to click on and check us out. Let me make sure that it's on YouTube as well. And then we're going to talk about this pick. All right. There we go. So we have pinned that to the channel so that you all can interact with us. Or I should say me, right? And let's go ahead and start to talk about this pick here. Just a second. All right. So the Carolina Panthers traded up, got on the defensive side, defensive line, and we're going to talk about the strategies that teams use. The terminology about we're not going to just reach for our need. We're going to get the best player available that is within our board. So I definitely want to talk about that a little bit more as it relates to that pick that we made yesterday with Tet or T Mac, and then we're gonna. But first, again, we're gonna talk about this draft pick that we just made here, 51st pick that we got from the Denver Broncos so far. Comments say Chris Tober. We got a lot of Chris's out here tonight. I appreciate that. I like that. Likes the pick, and B Stallion has not said whether or not he likes the pick, but we're going to get into it. So, all right, Nick Scorton, defensive lineman, 6'4", 284-pound junior, has been drafted by the Carolina Panthers. I am going to touch on all of his accolades. All right, get you up to date with who this guy is. He was the 2024 Lot Impact Trophy finalist. He was a 2024 Lombardi Trophy semifinalist. So he didn't win a lot of awards here, so I'm not going to read all these. He was a semifinalist for quite a few of these. 2024 Walter Camp Second Team All-American. 2024 SEC First Team as a junior. He started all 12 games as a defensive end, ranked third in the SEC with 14 tackles for loss, and led the team with 5 sacks. So that's nice. That's nice. Made 3 tackles, including a sack against Notre Dame in his debut for the Aggies. Had a hurry and a tackle for a 2-yard loss in the win in Florida. See what else. So it looks like he had a very solid career at Texas A&M. Give me just a second to drink some of my water, clear my throat. Be on mute for a second. All right. Did not want you guys hearing me clear my throat. Hopefully it'll get in check. You guys know how it is. Sometimes I get on here and you swear like I have the worst voice on the planet. So I'm going to try to use my softer voice in case you hear the deeper voice, because that'll help me clear my throat a little bit less. So there again, our pick, Nick Scorton, defensive lineman, junior, is now with the Carolina Panthers. Let's look at our defense as a whole. What is projected to be like? All right. So this is prior to the draft, what we were looking like projecting on our line. Derek Brown, and then in orange, those are our free agent acquisitions here, right? So we did get some help on the defensive side. Here you see we had 5 guys that we picked up on the defensive side before we even got to the draft. So that certainly eased the pressure that we have to get a defensive guy with that first pick that we did yesterday. But Derek Brown, Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton, Jadeveon Clowney, Trevin Josie Wanham, Mike Jackson, Trevin Moreg, Damani, JC, and Shaw Smith-Wade. That's what we were having prior to this draft. Could it change now that we got Nick Scorton? I don't know. But I want to show you that for you guys to digest that and kind of see where we are with the team as it stands right now. Let's do this. We give big love, big shouts to our members every time you guys come on the show and leave a comment. So Christopher Johnson just became a member. Hey, you guys have been showing me a lot of love, a lot of support. I feel like we've had a dozen new members this week. So thank you. Independent media, 100% supported by you all with the memberships, with the super chats, all that stuff. So yes, every single time I get a new member, I am going to make sure I personally say, Christopher Johnson, thank you very much. Hope you enjoy your stay here. Hope you stay for a while. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. All right. So be sure to let me know, and we'll go through that. Um, yeah, that's a bit all that I have for Nick at the moment. All right, so I heard that right now they're interviewing Nick, but I'm not going to cut to that. I have the chance to come back to that a little bit later. Again, this show, call in. So let me go ahead and get this graphic on the screen so you guys can know that's what we're doing. Chata, 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 chata. There you go. You see it right there at the bottom. Was this the right pick for the Carolina? We are going to get into it here in just a second. Let me make this a little bit bigger. I think that should be a little bit bigger. Give me just a second here. Chance, we're going to bring you on in just a second, sir. All right. Yeah, we make that a little bit big. I like it better like that. And again, I'm about to go to our first caller, but before I do, I want to remind you guys, as you see on the bottom here, was this the right pick for Carolina? Moving up to get Nick. The phone lines, so to say, are open. We're going to say the web lines. So if you guys, whether you're on your cell phone, your computer, just click on that link. It's pinned in the comments. If you don't see it in the comments, it's also in the description. Allows you to come on and talk to me like I'm about to do right now with my guy for the second day in a row.
Oh yeah,
We're on a good streak here, buddy.
not too bad. I actually have a couple day shifts.
Yeah, not too bad.
I I like this pick. I really do. I think I yeah. I mean, the only reason he didn't have a lot of like tackles and sacks this last year,
Hmm.
he actually came from Purdue.
Yep.
Like Purdue, he was like tearing it up, and the only reason that he went back to Texas A&M is because he wanted to be closer to home. But man, when he was in Purdue, he was tearing it up. So I think I like this pick. I think we develop him a little bit, and then we get give Clowney just like third downs where he can just rush the quarterback. I think it'd be pretty good. So
Yeah, I was thinking Clowney does not have much tread left on the tires.
no,
And there was a time last year I remember him sending a comment where he was basically like, it might have been after that bye week when we went to Germany. At some point though, he was just like, I'm glad I'm not playing or we're not playing this week because I need a break. So I'm like, okay,
right?
that's an older guy talking with. So I'm glad that we are getting some help there, and I do like this pick. Obviously we have some defensive needs there, and I'm going to learn a little bit more about this guy, but I'm liking it so far. Anything else you want to add?
You done any research on T Mac at all?
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna circle back to that. That's what I was gonna lead with
He
tonight.
he is actually. I think I'm gonna go like this now. I've watched some of his videos, and he is super athletic.
Yeah. So at the very top of the show, I had to let you guys know. I'm a very transparent guy. I let you down with the coverage yesterday. My coverage of T Mac, as I did my research today, dotted my I's, across my T's. Like, no, I did not do good journalism yesterday talking about T Mac. So I'm gonna make it up. Again, I'm gonna confess it because I want to keep you guys following me. But yeah,
Right.
disappointing coverage yesterday from Charlotte Vibe on T Mac. But we're gonna make it up today.
I watched one video where he caught a ball like in between his legs and like I don't know like 3 6. It was amazing. So I don't know.
Yeah, he's certainly a good guy. Certainly a good
Did
guy.
you One other thing? Did you also hear that him and Bryce were already throwing before even the draft?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he described that as a time that it just so happened to be that his quarterback and Bryce was at the same training facility, and they're like, "Hey, let's go ahead and catch." So it was just one day. They didn't get to do it often, but yeah, they got
Yeah,
one
but
in.
still, getting that camaraderie as a team, man. I think could be good. We'll see.
Hey, they definitely seem to love the Cali connection. Like the whole Dave Canales, Bryce, and Ted just Cali love. So
Right?
yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, Chance. Appreciate you. Good to see you, man. And if we get more picks, and I'm still live tonight, come back on. Let us know what you think. But he updated his thumbs down to neutral.
Yep, I'm even. I'm even now.
All right. Good to see you.
All right, talk to you later.
All right, take care. All right, all right. So again, call in. Please call in if you want to talk about it. Let me know what you think about this pick tonight, and we're gonna go through it. And yes, again, we're gonna go back once we get through this talking of this new pick, and we're gonna talk about Ted a lot more tonight. Let's go back, and here's a comment from Amp for Life. I loved yesterday's pick. I was jumping up and down and screaming. So happy with him. Yeah, okay. And, Amp for Life is not afraid to tell her opinion, whether it's a popular one or unpopular, which I love. I love. Man, I just glanced at the screen. Mike Green was just picked by the Baltimore Ravens, and he is balling. So that's kind of interesting to see. But, a lot of these people go through a lot of work to get to the draft and to get this moment. Sometimes they're just happy for them, but sometimes, you don't know these guys' backstory and what that young man may be thinking that this opportunity means not only for him, but his family. You hear a lot about moms and dads, and whether they're, in the worst of situations or even doing good, it's just an opportunity for a kid to give back. And lots of hard work. Not everybody makes it to the NFL by far, but pretty cool to see. So we're going to get back to this coverage here, talking about the Carolina Panthers pick, moving up to get Nick Scorton. Let me go ahead and read to you some more of the analysis from Nick. Again, 6'3", 257-pound edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Position rank, according to ESPN, was an 11. Overall rank was a 64. Grade was an 82. Bends well enough to dip and rip at the top of his pass rush. He gets good push as a power rusher and mixes in an effective, my screen scrolled, spin move. He tracks the quarterback and falls back inside when the QB steps up. He has good size and power and explosive to set the edge. He closes well and makes plays chasing from the backside. That's good speed, good speed. Likes good speed up front. Derek Brown got some good surprising speed as well. He's also versatile, experienced at dropping into coverage, and can kick inside to rush the passer. Can drop back into coverage? Wow. Well, 6'3", 257, yeah, that does give him some of the weight ability to do that. Speculation was that he was going to go in the first round. I'm sorry. I was reading something else, so disregard that. But, yeah, the Carolina Panthers now get a versatile edge rusher in Nick Scorton. Again, that's who they traded up to get from Texas A&M. He also went to Purdue, and before transferring over to Texas A&M. So there you go. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Chris Toper says the Panthers talk about wanting dogs, and Nick Scorton seems like a beast. Yeah, let me see if I can share some of these highlights with you guys on Nick. See if we can get this going for you. Give me just a second. See if we can't get you all some Nick Scorton highlights. All right. Yeah, let's see if we can check out these highlights. That's not what I want to do. Let's come back to here. All right. This is not yet working how I want it to work. Let's see if we can get this fixed. If not, we'll have to skip the highlights. But actually, I'll just try to do this right here. Hold on a second for me, guys. I think I can get this on the screen for you. Well, let me try one more thing. See if I can't get this on the screen for you. get it on the screen? We did not get it on the screen. There we go. I knew I could get there on it for you. Let's look at these. We got it. We got it on the screen for you, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at these highlights of Nick. All right, so that did not play as I intended it to play. So we're going to try one more time. Otherwise, we're going to have to forego this or skip this. So let's try this one more time. And we're just gonna have to skip over that. Let me know in the comments, did those highlights play clearly for you guys, or was that choppy? To me, on my screen, it looked like it was choppy. Let me know in the comments, did that play, those Nick Scorton highlights, did that play clearly for you guys, or was that choppy? Let me know. Hey, and yeah, continue to hit that like button. I see some likes coming in. Likes are appreciated and needed. That also helps with the video being seen by others. So I'll take a second to see if you guys told me whether or not you can see that highlights. If you want me to try one more time, I will. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get into some more of the Nick Scorton. I'm sorry, go back to the week one. Jeez, day one, round one, where we picked T-Mac with our first overall pick. Give just a few more seconds for somebody to tell me whether or not they want to do that. And then we'll go ahead and get back to the regular stuff. All right, so no comments came there about the highlights, so I'm assuming we're all good there. Yeah, we're going to continue to try to make the show entertaining. We got new graphics, new things that we're trying to make sure that we continue to give you more information. So maybe some hiccups a little bit, but we're going to try to work through it. And as always, you all are my second set of eyes. So if there's something not right, let me know so we can go ahead and get that right. But once again, thank you all for tuning in. Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media covering the Carolina Panthers, walking you through day 2, rounds 3 and 4 for the Carolina Panthers. And Christopher Johnson just says, how many picks do we have tonight? So our picks were going to be a second rounder and a third rounder tonight. So that was to be 2 picks. I think we still have that. Let me bring up the trade graphic just to make sure. So yeah, it still remains that we still have one more pick tonight. It went from pick 74 to 85, Chris. So we still have 2 picks tonight. We just swap space with the swap places with Denver. The only pick in which we really gain is now in the 6th round from the 7th round with Denver. So appreciate you asking. Hopefully that gives you some clarity. All right, so let's go back and talk about T-Mac. Let me just make sure I'm not getting any alerts that I should not be getting. All right. So yeah, let's go ahead and go back to T-Mac that was drafted by the Carolina Panthers just yesterday. Let me get all my information right in front of me. All right. We're gonna do this right here. We're gonna multitask just like this. I need like 4 screens, but I don't have 4 screens when I'm on the road. I have 2, and we're gonna make it work. All right, so let's go to that pick yesterday with the Carolina Panthers and T Mac. So I've already talked about again. Poor job yesterday by myself covering the that first round pick. Everything that I was looking at. Number one, I should have known more about him beforehand, which I didn't. He did have a 30 visit with the Carolina Panthers, which with my notes and everything that I had gathered didn't indicate that. So he did have a 30 visit. I had also mentioned that Steve Smith had said that he was underrated. That's not correct. Totally incorrect. I was reading the headline, read the headline incorrectly. I wanted out to say, hey, when I ran in that event yesterday at the pen relays, maybe the oxygen in my head messed up. I don't know, but it wasn't a good job. So, again, correction. Steve Smith did not say he was underrated at all. So take that out. And, yeah, so now we're going to go over the team. And I'm also going to explain about the best player available, reaching for a need, and et cetera. But let's start with some clips from T-Mac. And Dan Morgan talking about the selection of T-Mac.
Yeah, I think he has really good play speed. I think the thing that pops off the tape about Ted is just how smooth he is, his body control, his ability to adjust to all types of throws, his catch radius, and his hands are elite. He catches everything outside his frame, and he can win the jump ball down the field and in the red zone. He's a guy that has 18 touchdowns the past 2 years. So he puts the ball in the end zone, and obviously that's something that we want to do.
So that was Dan Morgan yesterday talking about picking, and I love this because now I have the pronunciation so I can get it right. Tetaroa, I got it. Tetaroa McMillan, a wide receiver that they picked up yesterday for the Carolina Panthers. Dan Morgan on his abilities, what they like about him, what he brings to the table as a wide receiver. And then we have some highlights, if you will, on Tetaroa. Named first team All Big 12. He was a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award after making 84 catches for 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns. So again, let's read that back once more time. Finalist for the Biletnikoff Award after making 84 catches for 1,319 yards. So in terms of me speaking yesterday saying, who is this guy? What is he like? Man, obviously a very, very productive guy. Surpassed Bobby Wade in the first in the program history with 3,423 receiving yards. And keep in mind, he did not play 4 years. Finished third in program history with 26 career touchdown receptions. He recorded 213 during his career, finishing fourth in program history. And last year, he was also tied for 8th nationally in touchdown receptions. So I'm going to leave this up here for just a second, but that is Tetaroa McMillan, our newest wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Some of the highlights of his stats. A very, very productive guy. And let me go ahead and say what's up to my man, Willie. You got to get the sound effect there.
Super chat.
We got a super chat for Willie. Thanks for the $5. What Carolina colleges players do you think the Panthers are looking at? Between UNC, USC, Clemson, A&T, South Carolina State, etc. Willie, I'm not fully understanding the question. What Carolina colleges play? So are you asking me who do I think is on the draft board? Because if you ask me that question, I don't have any good intel to tell you about who's on the draft board. So I hate to disappoint you. I hope I didn't disappoint you because you gave us a super chat, but I'm not 100% on that question. But super chats are always welcome and appreciated. Independent media 100% supported by your contribution, so I appreciate that greatly. All right, we're going to move on to some more of talking about Mr. T Mac, as he likes to be called, from Arizona. There was also uh, a lot of question about, man, why did the Carolina Panthers draft this guy? Why, when we need a wide receiver, did we draft a guy? I'm sorry, why, when we need a defensive guy, so bad did we take a wide receiver? Now, I had listed on my board yesterday top needs: safety, uh, lineman slash edge rusher, and wide receiver. So pick, my top three needs did include a wide receiver, and not in any particular order. And you know, I got to admit, maybe I got a little, again, lack of oxygen to the brain from running yesterday. But like, man, not only did we go to the offensive side, but it's a guy that I don't know. Okay, take that back. Now that I know who T Mac is, I'm good with it. And I want to take a second to just try to break down something that I feel could be a little confusing, like best player available and our need and our draft board, right? Because some parts of it you could look at it, and the question was asked, you know, was picking T Mac a, you know, saying that Xavier Legette isn't your guy. And it's not saying that. It's not saying that. So what these teams do is they do a comment when they're building their draft board, they have their needs, right? And then they have the best player available based on players that actually still fit their team. So example, a guy like Shedeur Sanders, he could be perceived as, let's not use him since he's not even been picked yet. Let's go to Travis Hunter. All right. Travis Hunter, outstanding athlete, really good guy, cornerback, wide receiver. I say good guy, really excellent player. I don't know him as a person, so I can't say good guy. So teams say, well, just because he's rated as a super athletic guy, does he fit our team? Does he fit our scheme, how we run our offense, how we run our defense? And you take all that you know about him, and does he fit? If he doesn't fit, then he doesn't get rated on the board. If he does fit, then you kind of give this guy an overall number to say, all right, I think this guy is a really good fit at this position. I think he can make this kind of impact on our team. So you list that, right? And then you have your needs over here. Let's just say defense, offense as those needs. The first thing you're going to do is pick the guy that's best available, that's also a best fit for your team, that can make the biggest impact. So if you feel like, and this is obviously what Dan Morgan and company felt like, that I'm just say T-Mac is rated, let's say, as a 90 impact player, great fit, really good at his position, and you got this next guy that is, let's say you rate him overall, however you do your scores, whether it's colors, numbers, whatever, letters, he's an 85. Well, you don't just say, I'm going to go and take the guy that I have overall because he's on the defensive side and we need a defensive player. I got him rated as an 85, really good impact player, but this guy is a better impact. Like, you just don't go and skip. Oh, you guys scared me there. Said I was muted. I was really about to be like, are you serious? I muted myself. So, but I appreciate you. You know, you're my second set of eyes, second set of ears. So thank Chris Johnson for letting me know. And I kind of lost my track. But that's how you come and say, well, no, picking Tetairoa McMillan wasn't a admission that Xavier Legette isn't your guy. And is staying disciplined to your board and saying, well, no, I'm not just going to get Jalen Walker because he's a defensive guy, because I just didn't rate him as high as an overall impact player at his position for our team as I rated T-Mac, and do that. So hopefully I just gave you some knowledge there. If I confuse you, let me know. part of my job and what I love to do is not just tell you about what's happening. Is I like to educate. I love to educate on the game of football and all the different aspects of it. So let me know. I'll break it down and I'll come back to it. Uh, we got much more stuff that we're going to go over for T-Mac, but I got to do this. As you guys know, these super chats are crucial
Super chat.
crucial to the success of the show. And we just got a super chat, $5 from Ali Bodrick, who says, "Welcome back, Chris. I'm just getting in. Did the Panthers pick yet?" So, yes, the Carolina Panthers actually moved up. And first round pick, of course, was Teteroa McMillan, T-Mac, wide receiver out of Arizona. And then we actually traded up from 57 to 51 in a trade with the Denver Broncos and got, let's see, I want to say Nick. Let me make sure it says right. Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M, an edge rusher. So that's where we currently are. Having made 2 picks. We still have one more pick to go tonight. And we'll continue to stay live until about 10 o'clock. I have a flight back to Charlotte tomorrow very early. As you guys know, I participated in the pin relays up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is where I'm reporting to you live now. And I got to come back tomorrow. So that's be why we cut things short tonight, even if they still are going. But let me just take a moment to also share with you all the draft coverage schedule. So we covered yesterday, starting at 7:30. We went live for 2 hours. We started tonight at about 9 o'clock, breaking down rounds 2 and 3. We do not have any planned coverage for tomorrow or Sunday, but we will come back on Monday with a full draft recap starting at 8 o'clock. So certainly encourage you to set your alerts, reminders, subscribe to the channel so that you can take part with us on that. All right, so let's continue to move on. Unless there's, of course, more super chats, which you're always welcome to. And a guaranteed way for me to read your comments and interact with you is when you do a super chat. All right, but let me now play the clip on Dave Canales talking about, hey, why did you guys, with such a need on defense, having that absolute horrific team last year, why did you go offense?
We're trying to do the best thing for the Panthers, and that's our commitment. Is if we can stay true to our evaluation process and follow the board, be disciplined about that over time, we'll select the players that we have conviction on, that we're all on the same page with, all on the same board. All on board with, to make those choices, And so I think the consistency of the players that we're looking for is what we're after, And I think that it's been said, in different ways, like if you start to chase needs and you're not just being true to your process and true to the players that come to you and the ones you have belief in, I think that, sometimes that you can, get yourself a little bit out of whack and not in alignment for what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and we did attack our defensive needs through free agency, and again, we have eight picks left. And
all right, so there you see there Dave talking about being disciplined and staying to the board. And that is why I went into that explanation just a minute ago prior to showing that clip about, needs and best player available and not reaching and how they execute based off their draft board. So, again, if you guys want me to come back to that for any reason whatsoever, let me know. But also do want to remind you that there is a link in the description and there's a link in the comments. Always eager to hear your reaction to the draft pick that we made tonight. So if you guys do have a reaction, you want to come on and talk about it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, let me know. And actually just click on the link and you'll be able to come on the show and let's interact. All right, a few more clips on T-Mac. And you got to play this one, right? So there was this video that's out there about T-Mac and not watching film. So you got to think, man, we just got a guy that ain't watching film, because I know someone said that yesterday about him claiming to not watch film. So T-Mac today, speaking with the media, talked about whether or not he watches film, just commenting on that situation.
I mean, yeah, that was from my freshman year of high school. I definitely have grown, have definitely matured since that. Um, I feel like I wouldn't be here in front of y'all today without loving this game, without watching film. So, yeah, that was just dumb, young and dumb freshman me. I definitely, matured from that for sure.
So there you have it, T-Mac saying the internet wins again, going back and finding something to say, hey, this guy said this, like, you know, and I'm with him on that. There's no way that you don't watch any film. Now you could say that you don't watch the most film, but every level they require you to watch some film. Even like with your position coaches, you're watching film. So he was just saying I was young, saying what I was saying. Might have been cocky about how good he is. Who knows, right? But we do have to remember these guys. I forget what his age is. Let me see if I can figure that out real quick. But they're young. And who didn't say something when they were younger that they probably don't mean right about now? Yeah, he's currently 22 years old. Tetero McMillan. He's currently 22 years old. So there's going to be some comments that he might have made that if they were on film or video, since he's the younger generation, everything has been recorded. He got it there. So nevertheless, he says that he watches film. He's going to continue to develop, wants to be a great player, and said that when he was going around doing his 30 visits or at the combine, did teams ask him about that? Absolutely. Absolutely they did. And, he told him what he just saw right there, like, that was just me younger, but I don't do that anymore. I watch my film. Got one more clip that we're going to play. And mentioned earlier that there's a big connection of California. So Dave Canales, California, Bryce Young, California, Tetero or T-Mac. I like to call him Tetero. I don't like nicknames. I'm just weird like that, but I'll call him T-Mac. T-Mac from California, and actually T-Mac and Bryce Young went to rival high schools in college, and he says he definitely remembers playing against him. I think during his sophomore year, I believe he said they beat him by like 40 or so, but it was a blowout, and just said, man, this guy is a phenomenal player. So it's one of those things where, because you're playing in the same sport, because you're in the same local area enough to where your high schools are rivals, of course they know each other, and know of each other, but they haven't been like buddies by any means. But they have gotten to know each other a little bit more as time has gone on, and they're both in college and now in pros. But Bryce Young liked T-Mac. He wanted to play with T-Mac, and he didn't make it. He made it known to the team that Bryce Young made it known to the team that he liked T-Mac, and this is T-Mac on that exact thing. Bryce Young's support of him as a player and wanted him to be a Carolina Panther.
He told me at 3D QB, that he's been, sitting on the table for me, going into the Mr. Morgan's office, going into Coach Canales' office, and really just sitting on the table for me and telling him, hey, man, we need to pick this guy. And so I give although I feel like I did what I needed to do to be in the position. I gave credit to Bryce for, vouching for me, and ultimately, for them taking the chance on me.
So there you have it. So again, much better coverage tonight, much better explanation tonight on T-Mac, Tetero McMillan, on how he became a Carolina Panther, why he's a Carolina Panther, was certainly listed as a top 5 wide receiver. Of course, there's good talk out there about him and certain things, and there's bad talk because nobody's dead perfect. He's not a super elite wide receiver that has unquestionable, undeniable, top-tier wide receiver number 1 talents. But for all that he has, 1,300 yards, 6'4" frame, great hands, big catch radius. Doesn't seem like he's a super big project, but certainly there's things that he needs to work on, and they will get to working on that. He, was in Charlotte today, meeting with the team, meeting some fans on his entrance, and the I forget what that program is actually called. What's off-season workouts, or I forget what the first one's called. Where our draft picks come, but nevertheless, that first practice with our draft picks is in about 2 weeks. So if you again have not subscribed, make sure you do. I'll be at those practices, and I'll be able to report to you guys what he looks like in person, how he's been running. Now, I'm gonna always say this: I personally do not give a lot of weight to the first time I see a draft pick on the field, and he's not even in a helmet. He's just in cleats, shorts, and a t-shirt, running around, catching routes on air. It's not the evaluation time right there, but it is a good time to give observation about how he looks, how he catches the ball, which should be flawless, which really should be flawless at this point. All right, so that gets us up to date with the picks. And let me see where we currently are in the draft. Currently, we are at pick 69, and the Carolina Panthers do not have another pick until 85. So we're at 69. What is that? That's about 16 picks. Not sure that we're going to be live long enough to catch that, but we're going to put this back here on the screen and invite you all to call in, talk about any of the picks that we have made, give your comments. I'll go ahead and put it back in the comments again for anybody that wants to join us live. For you to join us live and share your thoughts. There we go. I just put that back out there for you. Uh-oh. We just messed that graphic up. Let's fix that back. That's not what we wanted either. Playing with graphics live is a dangerous thing, as you could mess it up. So let's do this here. There we go. All right. Call in if you have any questions. Want to talk about Carolina Panthers or anything else. Let me just double check before I say this. Nothing breaking news, just yeah, so we are officially into the third round of the NFL draft, and Shedeur Sanders has not been picked. The Saints had a pick earlier in that second round, needed a quarterback. You kind of felt like they may come around to getting him in the second round since they did not in the first. Certainly the cost, when I say value, I'm talking about cost. So I'll just say the cost. The cost of obtaining Shedeur Sanders is definitely less, a whole lot less than it was in the first round. So you really feel like he has to come soon. And, man, whether you love him or hate him, man, I can't wait to hear what Deion Sanders has to say about this. But I know that he's not happy, Deion and Shedeur, about his dropping here in the draft. But I guarantee it's like, however good that guy can be, and we all can use motivation. Players, they harness any reason to have motivation and excel. And you got to keep in mind that Shedeur, all of his life, has faced people that give him reason to be motivated and feels like he has his target on his back. And to not be picked into the third round, again, you know the famous picture of Cam Newton with the towel around his head and the other team scores, and he does that. Okay, I know what we're going to do. I'm quite sure that Shador Sanders has done that, and whoever picks him will absolutely get that man's best effort, without a doubt. But he's still not picked here, and we're in the third round at pick number 70. And again, Carolina is set to pick a little bit later with the changes with the draft picks. We are picking at 85. So yeah, we got 15 more picks to go before the Carolina Panthers pick. But we're going to be live until 10 o'clock. So certainly, if you have any questions, want to join us on the show, the link is in the description and pinned into the comments for you guys to do that and join us. And anything else you may want to talk about while we're here live going over this draft, let me know, and we will talk about it. Let me see if I have any more images that I can share with you from our pick tonight of Nick Scorton. Yeah, no further graphics yet on Nick. All right, the New Orleans Saints have a pick. Chance asking, do I see us drafting a running back? Yeah. Let me bring up that depth chart as well for our offensive side. Give me just a second here. Make sure I got the right graphic. That is not the right graphic that I want to share with you guys. Good question there, Chance. Give me just a second, and I'm going to get on that. Yeah, I don't have the graphic to immediately pull up, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. I don't want to eat up time trying to look at this. So we got Chuba Hubbard. Obviously, he's our number one guy. We didn't draft. We got free agent Rico Dowdle as well, who's obviously going to be our number 2 guy. Jonathan Brooks, not going to play. Raheem Blackshear, special teams guy, right? So three running backs is good, but you got to have a fourth one. And on our depth chart, I don't see that we have any that say, hey, we don't need another one. So at what point will we get that running back? I don't know, but I would say yes, we absolutely still need another running back. Not imperative, not super, super high priority. So I feel like that's definitely a tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon pick. But yeah, Chance, definitely see us drafting a running back. Appreciate the question. Keep them coming. We can talk about Nick Scorton and us drafting him tonight. I don't see him as a starter yet. Still see that he would rotate in there with Jadeveon Clowney. Maybe later on in the season he can, after he picks up some things and start to excel, because again, Jadeveon is certainly older, got some wear on the tread there, but I don't see him coming in and out the gate taking over that edge spot from Jadeveon. All right. So Shador Sanders does not go to a team that needs a quarterback in New Orleans Saints. They pick up Vernon Broughton, defensive tackle out of Texas. So um, it is a 1 hour time difference in Texas. I would say pretty soon Shador might be like, you know, I know the TV cameras is here and everybody wants to talk to me, but at this point, I'm out. I'm going to get me something to eat. I'm going out. I'm going to do something. I'm going to watch some film. Nevertheless, Linda Krowski, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good for you to tune in. I like the second pick in Nick Scorton. And you guys know I butcher these names when we first get these guys. They did not give the media a pronunciation chart, so if I'm butchering it, I'm sorry, but I will have it right once we get that pronunciation chart. But Leonard says he's 20 years old, plenty of room to grow for the kid. Chance Hines says, I hope we get a safety next. Need help there. Yeah, we do need a safety. I don't think I made a graphic for it as far as when I identified our needs. So let me see if I have that graphic. Nah, I don't have the graphics. Steelers at 83 for Shador Sanders? Man, possibly. Shador at 83, huh? I mean, you just when teams need a quarterback and they pass on a guy more than once, you can only just kind of say like, wow. Buffalo Bills have made their pick. They got an edge rusher out of Arkansas, Landon Jackson. Looks like next up would be the looks like New York Jets are next up with their pick.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
We got random voices going on in the room that I'm in, so send help now. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just totally kidding. Please do not start trying to figure out where I'm at and send help. That was a quick joke. All right, the New York Jets took cornerback Azari Thomas out of Florida State. Cornerback. Again, the New York Jets have made their pick, the ninth pick in the third round, 73rd pick overall, with Azari Thomas out of Florida State, cornerback. On the clock next are the Denver Broncos, who will be taking the pick that they just received tonight from Dan Morgan and company, also known as the Carolina Panthers. Again, Azari Thomas out of Florida State, cornerback, ninth pick, 73rd overall. Ninth pick in the third round, 73rd overall, has been picked up by the New York Jets. And now the Denver Broncos are on the clock with the pick that they received tonight in their trade with the Carolina Panthers. So we're going to see who that is. Again, about 5 more minutes. We're going to stay online live for you guys tonight. You do have the ability, and I encourage you to click on that link in the description. Join me live. Whether you want to grade the trade, A, B, C, or D that the Carolina Panthers did tonight, or you want to call in and talk about anything, you're free to do so. So, yeah, leave your comments. Grade the trade tonight that we did with the Denver Broncos. Do you give it an A, B, C, D? Or you could give it an F, right? What's your grade for that draft pick tonight? I'm sorry, for the trade tonight that led to the draft pick of Nick Scorton. Okay, chance rates to the B to get a guy that we wanted. All right, we got one grade out there for it, which is a B. You guys on Twitter, we got a lot of people watching on Twitter tonight. A lot of people watching on Twitter tonight. Actually, yesterday and today, we've been having more people watch us on Twitter than on YouTube, which is unusual, but nevertheless, I just want to give some love and thanks to everybody on. I'm still saying Twitter. I know some people out there saying it's X. All right, so Twitter/X. Got a lot of viewers out there watching us tonight on that platform. So thank you everybody on Twitter for watching. But you guys can comment too as well. So those watching on Twitter, if you have a comment in terms of how you rate the trade that we did tonight, A, B, C, D, or F, please do so. And you guys on Twitter also have the opportunity to click on that link that comes up and join the show with your comments. I think we'll probably get through about 2 more picks tonight, at least just for the live broadcast. We will continue our coverage offline, but we'll be live for about another 5 minutes. And the Denver Broncos have made their pick. The Denver Broncos have made their pick. The number 10th pick of the 3rd round, 74th overall, has not been submitted yet. Well, it has been submitted, has not been revealed yet. As soon as it is, I'll share that with you guys. Just got some information here I want to pass along to you about our pick tonight. He said he started last season at about 285 pounds. By the end of the season, he had lost 10 pounds. But he changed his diet and got down to 257. And he's going to try to stay at that weight. So something that some guys in college have said that's their biggest adjustment. There's a lot of adjustments when these guys come from college to the pros. But one of the things that they all seem like they all go to realize quickly is about their diet and take care of their body and how they're going to go about doing that. Certainly they have a lot more resources to do so from their own personal financial standpoint and from having more resources of people that are staffed by the Carolina Panthers to help them with their nutrition. So we will continue to see how that goes, but generally it's a great thing for these guys when they get to the pros if they're dealing with their weight to get that extra nutritional help from the experts. Chance said, "You excited to see the family, Chris?" I'm assuming that you're talking about my family that I have here in Delaware. Yeah, yep. Really good time to see my family while I was up here running the relays. Got a chance to spend time with my mom. We spent the day just kind of going around, doing stuff that you do with your mom, going to this store, going to that store, and getting something to eat. So that was pretty good. Parents, spent time with both my parents, including my brother. I have a sibling as well. Didn't have a lot of time because also covering the draft, but still certainly good to see my immediate family up here in Delaware. Thanks for asking, Chance. All right, the Broncos picked wide receiver out of Illinois, Pat Bryant. Again, the Denver Broncos pick wide receiver Pat Bryant out of Illinois. 54 receptions, 984 yards, 10 receiving touchdowns. That's a pretty good number of receiving touchdowns. Ted was rated 8th with, how many did Ted have? He had 8 touchdowns last season. Yeah, that guy's a good little touchdown machine. Let me see if I can find a stat that I'm looking for here. Yeah, 10 touchdowns is a good amount. 10 touchdowns is a good amount. All right, this will be our last pick. We're not going to make it for me to get to the Carolina Panthers pick, but encourage you guys to stay on Twitter, which is be where I'll update you with the rest of what happens tonight. But we'll give you this. The 49ers just made their pick, the 75th pick overall, picking up Nick Martin from Oklahoma State. San Francisco 49ers picked Nick Martin, linebacker from Oklahoma State, as their pick. And next up will be the Dallas Cowboys. So thank you all, as always, so much for watching tonight. Chris Jenkins, a.k.a. Man of the People, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, credentialed member of the media. You have a friend in the media, which is me. Any questions that you have, no matter what it is, player, coach, rules, what does this mean? What does that mean? Cap, anything. I'd like to say I'm your resource for that. I'd love to answer those questions. That is why I go live all the time, is to interact with you all should you have any questions or need any explanations for anything. So help us reach 20,000 subscribers. If you watch this far, you got to subscribe. Do yourself that favor. Obviously, you like the content. I love you being here. Subscribe, like, tell a friend. And the next time I see you, unless something changes, will be Monday night for our full draft recap show. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Hold on. You guys are saying something here? What are you guys saying before I get off of here? Thanks, trade up to 7-7. Oh. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Leonard. Thanks, Chance. Chris Tober. All right. Thank you guys so much. See ya.